Now to our regularly scheduled program in progress. Adrenaline is high. Tension thick as a bomb threat, like it's Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze, people acting crazy. Battle a room full of animals, no one is safe, B. But I bring it to them raw, crack a bottle hardcore. Swing fists and bull sticks, crack skulls on the bar floor. Bar none, I'm a beast in a brawl. Pummeling underlings, they better retreat or stall. Smashing heads through the seats, bring a chair, get it slammed through the wall. Scarred up, fisted cuffs, tables and chairs, you better duck. Fight club, light it up, it ain't even fair, black guys and cuts.
Hey guys, welcome to the lab. Another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room, joined by my good friend Mike, aka Seamus the Skunk. Mike, how you doing today?
Hey. Good to see you.
Good. I think we're past the threshold to wish each other Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We're almost into Chinese New Year territory, so happy early Chinese New Year, I guess. But you are here to talk all things Clink. I think I saw a nice shipping notification for something you got coming with Brandon real soon, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh, this is for Space Between?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I wasn't leaking something there that I shouldn't be, but that's an older hat. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I can't wait. I think that's his first one that hit production too, so I gotta definitely. I did speak to him. I told him once that arrives, we got to get him on the show and kind of get his story on that. So I'm excited about that. But all right, let's get right into it. I know it's a NFL playoff season, so we don't want to take up too much of the prime time. But let's cover what happened this week out of Clink Room. June the Barber's back. June 3 this time. Initial thoughts on his third drop. Are you liking this drop?
It's a really nice pack, and I don't particularly care for Houston teams, but he picked the right designs to do it and used the right colors to represent the different Houston teams there. So I was glad to see the Space Cowboy come back out. I don't think they've done a recolor on that one, so that was really cool to see. And the last ride. I think that's what that one was called. The skeleton.
Yeah.
That one's sharp in the orange. Very cool.
Yeah, it was a cool strategy. Like you said, he ended up picking like a lot of like astronaut stuff. Like Houston has a huge NASA space station. I mean, they're right there. So you'll see it a lot in the Astros baseball, like people dressing up as astronauts and stuff like that. So they did like 3 colorways, which is like a really interesting play. It all uses the same blue. So we got like that kind of navy and orange that you see with a lot of Astros. And then the bottom is that navy and gold from that like Triple B, Killer B era, Berkman, Biggio, and Bagwell. So that was pretty cool. And then the middle one kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Houston Rockets a little bit. So, you know,
like the 90s Rockets or the Houston Texans.
Oh, yeah. That looks way more like Houston Texans. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I was originally thinking like Yao Ming, and Steve Francis era, but you're right.
I think the crowns are actually a little different on the bottom two. I think those are full navy. The other ones are light navy. But I really like the bottom two. They went with a wheat under, and that's really rare. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, let's break them up one by one. So we got Last Ride by Jacobo and Pit Fanatic, Astronaut Ice, and then Space Cowboys. So you had mentioned Last Ride kind of sticking out to you. That reminds me of like this, like kind of like this Warren Lotus kind of like art style with like everything on fire or everything kind of like skeleton. But
it's almost an embodiment of them riding off into the sunset. Great colors for it. I like it.
Yeah, 65 Bold is another one that we don't see too often. I mean,
it's a shame. Man, that guy puts out some of my favorites.
Yeah. And then obviously Player 2. What was that?
I don't know.
You look them up. Like, their name doesn't sound too familiar. Okay, Space Cowboys is the only one that they did. Man, it's already been 4 years. Where has
Yeah.
time gone?
Yeah.
Oh, is this Kurt player? No, Kurt Weiser. Yeah. Oh, this is Kurt.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So just
Yeah.
just a different username. All right.
Yeah. Kurt Weissmiller. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, yeah. Cool.
Of
Yeah,
all
Kurt's
the
done a lot of
side
stuff.
patches that you've seen, this year, I don't. This is the one that I mind the least.
This is one you mind the least?
I don't. I mind the least. So
Okay.
it doesn't give me any kind of problem. Um, the big script one, that one seems to take up like half the side of the hat.
Mhm.
But to me, when you're wearing the hat and you're talking to someone, they don't see the side patch. I don't see why it bothers so many people as much as it does, but it really doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's just when they're the really big ones and they keep the hat from sitting nice on the side of your head. That's when I notice them.
Yeah. When it gets hard to like fold it in half, like it fucks up the ratio. Yeah.
But
I mean, side patches don't bother me. It was like a gateway to trying to, I guess, capture more of like the license collector to me.
mhm.
And they had gone side patchless for so long that to me it's like a change in the flavor.
Sure.
I understand like some of them are like really big, but in like the hat collector world, the bigger ones are the better. Like, I mean, if you don't want a dinky side patch,
Right.
this one in particular though, I feel like if you don't hit it with a lot of contrast, it gets muddy real quick. So like the one on the right, the white off of the gold, it's like asking for more contrast there.
Agreed.
So either you darken the background or you make the I think like you darken the background and then you definitely got to make the numbers at the bottom or the room part at the bottom like a dark. But I don't mind them, and it's a huge point of contention for a lot of collectors. I mean, I get you want to share your opinion and you're free to do so, but like it gets a little tiring.
Yeah.
But hopefully,
it's simple, but it's bold and it's enclosed. I really don't have much of a problem with this side patch.
Yeah. But I would have had a bigger problem with it if they started charging more, I guess, for ones that had side patches, like this one's 70 or without patches, whatever. But like they're not charging more. You're getting more work out of it. But I mean, side patch versus patch has been like a age old debate amongst collectors.
Right.
And we'll see how it goes. The good thing is a lot of the pre-orders come side patch list, so it's like when you get it here, you've already, had your chance at it. But Houston Hitters, Rocket Pops, and Apollo is the next three. What are your thoughts here?
Apollo is such a clean logo. I vote for that one. And this is a really nice. It has just that right tiny amount of red in it. Just to offset, but the rest of it is just nice and clean. That was kind of the beauty of the logo itself. Rocket Pops is, man, how many versions of Rocket Pops have we had? But each time it's just a little different. I kind of like it. I personally had to choose between collecting all the Rocket Pops or collecting all the ray guns. I went with the ray gun. But go on. Houston Hitters, that one actually screams more to me like the Triple Bs than the Killer Bees than anything. Really nice one.
Yeah, let me see what how the Rocket Pops did. I mean, Rocket Pops and ray guns is gonna go down as like still full size run. That's crazy. But those two are gonna go down as like like the most recolored ones because the logos are just done so well that you can keep rocking it. See now I'm looking at the up close picture of the gold side patch. It's not that bad. It's not washed out as much as this picture. It's really hard to it's really hard to take good pictures of metallics. That's the issue too. I like Houston hitters. My problem is like Big Dave did a bunch of the Moonwalkers, and it's basically the same subject matter, but it is a cool subject. I mean, astronaut playing baseball, it's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, Carter with the Apollos. That's a real smooth one. I think the blue with the red, like the red contrast hit, is the best side, like executed side patch
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
them all. It's just got that red pop color.
Mm-hmm.
That's real clean. So my lone pickup from the June pack 3 was the one that you kind of singled out.
Real nice.
The embroidery on this one is so good, and I didn't have the original Apollos, but
Right.
I kind of like that kind of shine off the glare, and then yeah. And now that you say it, Houston Texans, I can't unsee it now. Duh. Yeah, Houston Texans with that kind of color. Yeah, I like what he did.
Yeah.
I like how his packs kind of represent him. You know, the first one all Barber stuff, second one all Mexican, third one all Houston. So he's doing good storytelling. I mean, the first person to get 3 packs, kudos to him. June the Barber. June the Barber. All right. So our next thing to cover are the last calls. So these next 6 designs are up for pre-order until the end of the night, midnight to be exact, Eastern time. So Win had himself a feature week. He took over the pre-orders. I believe this was the week before Christmas. Yeah, because then we'll get Sierra. Oh no, was Sierra's already done? I don't know. The weeks all blur together, but
yeah, Sierra's just ended last week.
Okay. All right. So this is the week after Christmas. What are your thoughts on Haunted Skies, Featherlight, and Time's Up?
I picked up Haunted Skies. I really like. I never liked the red one side, blue the other side to try and. It's not. They're not trying to get a 3D effect on there, but they're creating depth by just 2 colors, and it just never resonated with me. But I think it's the shades that they picked for this one really hit. It was very clean work, and it just really spoke to me. So I picked that one up. Featherlight is a beautiful piece. My only hesitation on that one is there's a phrase that we used to say on MAC a lot was, can you find this anywhere or anywhere else? And I mean, really any outdoor outfitter, you're going to find something very similar to it. So it wasn't particularly original. So I just didn't feel the need to pick that one up, but it is a very, very pretty piece. Time's Up. I was actually I was glad to see come up. I know he was working on that one for a long time. This is probably the 3rd or 4th version of it. So we'll see him up. I kind of liked some of the other ones, just the color picks. It was a little more green and gold heavy. But the blues work with this one pretty well. And it's a really weird color for the under on that one. I want to say it's like grilled yellow or something. It's a really light cream color.
So it's either like a metallic gold, potentially, or it could be like an Everest green. I mean, you can. Let me check the
Everest green. Yeah.
Let me check the pre-order sheet here. But if we're going by best selling, Haunted Skies and Featherlight are in the top. I mean, they're at the end of the cycle, so they've been there the longest.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's moving the pieces, so
yeah. Haunted Skies jumped right up there.
Yeah. So under visor, Vegas Gold. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Vegas Gold. That's an interesting choice. You see Vegas used as a crown color a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't recall seeing any that have had it as the under. So, I mean, it works with it.
Yeah, like you see it used for like the
Mhm.
crown color a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, strong little 3-pack here, and then the next 3 we got Summit Strength, Pardon My Finch, and Frozen Fury.
Yeah.
Part of My Finch looks like his Vegas Gold too.
That one's definitely Vegas Gold.
Yeah.
And that one he tried that, and Flanagan tried it a couple times, and I want to say they did it as a combo once, and it just never seemed to take off. So, it's funny, and it's a great pose for the Finch. It's not really flight. Taking flight is just kind of puffed up to try and be a little more aggressive. It's funny, I had to stop buying hats just because they made me laugh.
Yeah.
I have enough of them, like the banana hammocks, that I never wear, but it was funny at the time. But it's still a nice bird drawing. The Summit Strength, I really dig that one, and I really like the maroon turquoise play off that. That is a really strong color combo. One of the recolors on Sonole Soul, I got I think that was the Taos, New Mexico one.
Yeah.
Got that one, and that is a really striking color offset in hand. Very, very nice work on that one. Frozen Fury, there was something about, when I saw it the first time, something about the polar bear's face just didn't look right to me, and I think it's with how it's working in the circle. It rounds off the mouth a little too much, and it makes them a little cartoony looking.
I feel like the teeth are off a little bit too.
Yeah. So
maybe the centering of the teeth, maybe.
Out of the pack, I'd say that's the weakest one. That's not saying it's not a perfectly fine design. There's just something about that polar bear face that just doesn't look like it's of. He's not yelling in that guy's face. It's like there's two different designs
kind of pieced together. Yeah. And we got like the Ninja Star kind of speed lines too.
Yeah.
That one's
Snowflake, whatever he's going for.
Yeah. It's an interesting piece, but like I look at something like that and I'm just kind of like wondering, like, what are we looking at? Like dude just getting screamed at by a polar bear. Like, I don't know. Like it doesn't talk to me like kind of like Part of My Finch. Like at least Part of My Finch has a good pun.
Sure.
But I feel like a lot of his stuff is kind of like that, and that's fine. It's just stuff that looks cool. Like, that's probably what votes sends him through the vote a lot. Like, it doesn't need a crazy. Really it doesn't need a crazy story. Summit Strength, I'm with you. The turquoise really works well with that. It's like using all the cool aspects of like the Arizona Diamondbacks kind of colors, like that kind of brick burgundy, maroon, the turquoise, the copper. I almost feel like it doesn't need the ground there, and then the whole outline kind of.
Sure.
I don't know if we need the whole outline, but it's a cool piece, it's a strong piece.
Great pose.
Yeah, but I think Part of My Finch is far and away. I'm with you. It's the best one out of the pack here.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward. Then we're gonna cover the shock drop. This one shock drop Thursday night. So Clink Kong Stone is here. These Kongs always sell super well. The side patch matches the big Clink Forest that came out last week with a green metallic kind of beer can or soda can, depending on what you like to partake in. But what are your initial thoughts on this shock drop?
But there's really nothing new you can say about any of the Kongs. It's our iconic logo. So it's just a really strong logo. Good color combination on there. I think the only thing that's new to it is the side patch, and that one's been around since the first big Clink recolor pack from last year. It was in red, and that is a really nice patch.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking. But what else is there to say about the Kong?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a Kong collector, so I love this hat. I ended up grabbing it, and yeah, I'm with you. The look at how the side patch works.
Yeah.
And then the front is like monochromatic green. A little bit dusty here, but just how it came out. It's almost like Hulk-like. So this is like a super. No, is this black or is this green? I can't even tell. This is black.
Yeah, it's black.
Yeah, it's black. And
What's
then green
the
under.
okay.
My favorite under. Not go wrong. But yeah, patch, shimmer, shine.
Still don't know why it was called green, but when you look at it that way, it's not just, you said monochrome. It actually reminds me of the early '80s monochrome green computer monitor display.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
like those, super old Macs and stuff.
Yeah.
He's kind of Hulk-like to me. Beautiful hat. I mean, I collect Kongs. Anytime I see they release like the big Clink word mark or the Kongs, I'm in. I actually reached out to Kevin to be on the show. He doesn't have an Instagram, so it was like a contact me section off his website. He's the designer of this logo, so I'd love to get his insight on it. I mean, they've redone this logo so many times. It's just a beautiful logo. Yeah. All right. Moving forward. Right in the crits. So Cody Manning is entered the fray here. The Love Machine. What are your thoughts here?
that's a clever name. So the thing that hits me right off the bat, and it's something that it's just one of my own personal pet peeves. You got to center the logo, and especially when you have an element that extends off to one side, that takes just a couple extra seconds while you're eyeballing it to make sure you're centering the logo on the main logo itself.
Yeah.
When you're putting it on the template and you're dragging it around, the illustrator is going to frame it, and that frame is going to center it on, including that entire right side. So
the center of the actual logo.
Right off of what it was saying, but it would look a lot more balanced right away if it was just over by just a couple centimeters. But good colors. It looks really nice on that. I want to say that one's just the true purple. And just as a newer artist, that's one of the things that I hope he kind of learns really soon is the outlines have got to be thicker. Most of the lines are too thin to be really embroidered really well. So like this white outline has got to be like double.
That's interesting too, because you're a guy that almost never uses outline. You're like the no outline guy, but no, you have been using them more lately. I'm with you though, like the line weights for sure. Even the diamonds, those kind of gems up top, super thin. You really got to punch those in, because you don't want like a satin stitch on those, like a single stitch. It's not going to come out good. So yeah, he's working well. He's got the 3 colors of purple within the crown, like a dark, like kind of orchid color, and then like a purple accent, and then almost a lavender under. So I do like that. Yellow is a contrasting color to purple, so you're always going to get good contrast there. I don't know if I love the red, but the red works with a Love Machine theme. So yeah, it's a strong piece. I'm with you though with the centering, because he's essentially centered the full weight of the logo. But you would try to center the machine. So kind of like that Florida Marlins thing. Like when the Florida Marlins first released their hats,
just like
they centered the whole logo, and then they eventually moved to centering the F, and it looked way more balanced, even though it wasn't balanced. It's just an optical illusion. Would you add anything at the like the bottom potentially, maybe making some type of burst. Um, I feel like it's lacking some type of background to hold it together or something. Maybe.
It actually could use something at the top, that little light that's on there.
Hmm.
When these things pay out, when you get the jackpot, they have blaring lights and
Yeah, some
it's
sort of
going
like
up. So
expression.
now that you say that, it is kind of static for paying out.
Yeah.
So that actually could use, even if it's it's coming soon. The caffeine power from COD, and I think designed by Jake. They had that kind of big, not explosion, but just kind of
Yeah.
bright orange and yellow kind of points coming off of it, just to give it kind of an explosive energy to it. Even an outline like that would help this. Just kind of sell that's paying out, but I think that's really the only thing you could really add to it. I don't know that it needs all the little buttons on the front of the machine, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to a casino, so I don't know.
I was gonna say, I mean, I played slots once in my life.
Yeah.
And the lever and the main button don't those things achieve the same thing? I almost feel like
They do, but they have the option for you to pull the lever, or you can just hit the buttons on the front. I do remember that, but I don't know that it has 8 options on there if it's not like a video poker. And why make it more difficult to embroider? It's an unnecessary complication.
Yeah.
So you can slim that down to 3 buttons or 3 or 4 and get the same effect. But otherwise, it is kind of a striking design.
Yeah. I feel like he almost needs to lean more into like the adding almost human elements to it, make it almost like a character, kind of like Hakobo with his Money series. One Armed Bandit comes to mind. The one where the money counter, the burr or whatever, like just like little elements that made it seem to make it more of like a character. I feel like he's trying with the mouth at the bottom, and maybe potentially the 3 hearts could be like eyes, but it's like almost like not there enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like bring it to life a little bit more.
That's a little more of a personal style choice. I mean, it is kind of rounded and kind of cartoon style, where everything, there are some straight lines to it, but everything's kind of not soft, but there aren't hard angular things like you usually think of with a slot machine.
Yeah.
So he's partly there, but without having to create a whole character to it, I think it's okay. But it could easily, throw a couple of eyes on there, up where those diamonds are, and it could easily go into a character, sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, good job, Cody. Second one, we got Ascend by Wind Studio, kind of a rose butterfly kind of mashup.
Yeah.
Back to the brick red and the teal again too that we saw in that bull he did. What are you thinking here?
I don't. It doesn't have the same impact for me with the maroon or burgundy or whatever that color is.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe it was just the orange and the yellow in the background on the bowl that made the other two really lended it to the contrast there. I see what he's trying to do there. He's trying to give the impression of a butterfly, but still using
the leaves,
the leaves from the plant to create it. I think there's just too many sharp points when you're trying to do a little more delicate type of presentation. You could argue that he's trying to keep the idea of rose thorns in there. I don't know if that's really the intention, The artwork's good. It's well balanced, but this one just kind of misses a little for me. And I think it's trying to do too. It's trying to evoke too much. It's trying to count on the impression too much.
Yeah,
it doesn't quite sell it.
Yeah. I can't argue with the art. Art's cool.
Yeah,
it's striking. You can see it from across the room. He's leaning into that same kind of colorway, brick red, burgundy, and then that kind of like really high frequency like teal that the Diamondbacks use. I mean, the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Good little piece. Kind of wondering, what we're looking at a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's when I guess. 3 Harmony. Julia Jean is back with this, I believe, her second kind of try at this. She submitted a new colorway. This kind of a beatbox, boombox thing. What are your thoughts here?
So this, I don't know what else she submitted before this one. I know I saw this one in the Buy Sell Trade group when it was resubmitted.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential here. It's kind of a cool character, but there's entirely too much tiny detail here.
Yeah.
This
the boombox especially.
The boombox especially, the sneakers as well. There's a lot of little stuff going on there. And the thing that's stuck out the most to me is that front leg. You've got the heart turned just slightly, but that leg is coming out like from the middle of the groin area. It's entirely too far forward. So you can make it as long as you want to. It's a cartoon character, so bring it back so it's not right in the front and can still have it going across the front, and that would be fine. But I think if it was simplified and you move that leg, I think this could actually really work.
Yeah, I'm with you. The leg is completely in like a random spot.
Yeah, and it's it's coming out of the chin.
Yeah, and then the poof, the speed poof is only coming from one leg, which is a little different. And then like the little added pieces that I don't think really add anything to it, like the music note on the fist, the A on the sneaker don't really help it. So like the things that like don't really like push your design forward, you just you don't need them. And then the million details.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. They wouldn't embroider anyway. So just
yeah. So it's if it's not helping you, it's hurting you a little bit, I would say. And then the little details in the boombox. I mean, we're old enough to remember how those things work, but anyone under born in the 2000s is not gonna remember the radio dial and all the buttons. And I'm sure they're accurate to what they are. You see the tape in there too. If you really zoom in, but that's not going to embroider, unfortunately. So you do have to kind of simplify it.
And I can't tell from the size of the screen, but the shading that's on both wings, I can't tell if that's a gradient or not. Obviously, you can't do a gradient. Yeah, they can fake a gradient in like in some of the larger MILB logos or the MLB logos. Clink just doesn't do it. It's very difficult to pull off. So don't even design it with there because they won't be able to do it.
And his thumb too, right hand thumb, kind of there. It's like a little nub. Anytime I see stuff like this too, I always try to count the fingers. I feel like he's got 4 fingers on one side and 3 on the other.
Yeah.
That's an instant kind of red flag. But yeah, it's a cool piece. I'm with you. The concept is nice. But it might need a little bit of refining. This is the type of thing where like I have a million and one concepts, but I need to team up with artists sometimes to help me execute.
Can
But
you
yeah,
tell what color the under is on there?
looks gray, so it's like a dark gray, same color as the crown, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, she posted a teal one as well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of those that Mexican baseball league team that Robinson Cano
Oh
and
yeah,
Trevor Bauer was on,
yeah.
the Rojos. But yeah, I think that color is better because it didn't have an outline, so
Sure.
it was well that same color crown basically as what she has, that kind of teal color
Yeah. If it was to stay this colorway, I'd use that same blue as the under on it.
as the under,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I don't want to get too harsh on some of the stuff because I don't want to discourage her. She seems like a cool person. Um, but yeah, so hopefully they keep creating.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a cool piece. Harmony. All right. 4 Croat. It's good to see 14.8 back.
That's funny. I personally got on a really big drip kick there at the end of last year, but man, 14.8 really goes with the drips, especially around the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. This one it really kind of gives it a look like he's decaying.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works with the croaked.
Yeah.
It's
It's the first
funny.
thing you see after you lick a frog or lick a toad.
Yeah. Just the walls start melting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool piece. I just don't know if it'll vote well.
Yeah.
He has like a really cool kind of like less is more style, almost like a graffiti style. Unfortunately, he doesn't vote well.
Right.
Hopefully, we can change that because I'm a fan of his work.
I think it comes from wood carving or wood burning. I think it is. So the less is more really lends itself to his usual medium. But you're right; it doesn't always translate well. But he's picked some nice colors to give it. They aren't giving any real clashing to it. I'd probably go with a gray under on this one. That orange. Well, it's in the tongue too.
Yeah, in the outline.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily see this one voting particularly well, but I don't really see anything that he could do to really sell it. I think the only thing that is really just not. I think it's the shape of the tongue.
Yeah. Would you off center it? See, like I feel like two things I can help this. Either off center the tongue, make it asymmetrical, or you take it to a 3/4 pose, and almost give it a little bit more motion, where he's kind of like the last croak or whatever. Just kind of give it that side view.
Yeah.
And it just creates a little bit more of a dynamic piece. Right. This is like really static. And while it would probably embroider real good, I think.
Yeah.
Just the solid pieces and kind of what Casey can do to kind of create depth and texture. I just worry that it's not going to get enough support.
Yeah.
It's not dynamic enough. Like it's not screaming like vote for me,
Right.
But I do love his style. I think it's cool, and it's unfortunate sometimes like his stuff doesn't always make it through, because when he does hit the shop and you see the final product, it looks good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Moving forward.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see this one come up. Sorry about the dogs.
No, that's okay. It's okay. You
walking home.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. I was gonna say maybe got mail.
Nah.
But yeah, Heartburn, Josh Foles.
Very, very cool piece. I mean, it's a great pun, a great representation of what does your chest feel like when you're experiencing heartburn. And I was chatting with him a little bit on this one. This really easily could have gone completely sideways. If he had done even a little more detail on there, which I'm always apt to do is just to overdo it. This would have been just a big hot mess, but he did it just right. This one's going to do really well. I think as long as it hits the shot, it's going to sell well.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's screaming for like either a red or an orange button, kind of like a infrared or deep red that you used.
Yeah.
And cool piece. It reminds me of like that sacred. Is it the Sacred Heart that
Sacred
people
Heart,
use? Yeah. So, yeah, nice little piece there, Josh Wells. Clean work here.
Very clean, very great.
We got the Ghost Runner. Clifton is back with his kind of like fandom character.
Mm-hmm.
This time in a cardinal red and almost chrome. Almost looks like a Philly hat. Old school Mike Schmidt. Ghost Runner. What do you think?
Hey, he's all in on this character, so he's gonna keep on running with it until it stops paying out, and good for him. It's a very identifiable, it's a very relatable character. In this instance with the Ghost Runner, everybody, playing baseball as kids, you only had 2-3 kids that were playing at a time. So I've got a ghost man on first and a ghost guy on third.
Yeah.
It's very, very relatable, very easily recognizable logo. I can't imagine they would keep it a chrome button, but Clink's gonna do whatever they want with the colorways anyway. But you're right, yeah, I dig it. I wasn't a fan of the last couple ones like the School Spirits, but this one really hits the mark.
Yeah, I do like how he made in like a color of like a baseball hat, like that old Phillies colorways, smooth. I mean, with Ricky Henderson passing away too, him being like the most famous kind of base stealer, you could just do any team that Ricky played for.
Right.
He's not technically a ghost run. I mean, now that he passed away, technically kind of could be. But Rick Clifton back, National Baseball League level player.
You could almost have it leading off. Well, you don't really have the room to move the base farther away for him to be getting a good lead. So
I almost wish he was. Like in a running pose, like just ready to sprint, rather than. I mean, him kind of leading off kind of works too, kind of shuffling around. A cool little piece. And he almost drew it in like a negative way, which is pretty interesting. Yeah.
A couple of them have done really well. A couple of them just didn't quite do it for the voters. We'll see how this one works out, but I like it.
I like it too. All right, number 17, Shadow Boxing, Matt Bells and Whistles, almost like a George Foreman, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. If they all had a baby. What do you think of this?
I actually applaud Matt for this one. This is a really different art style that he's going with it. I mean, this one just screams like 1950, maybe early 60s advertisement poster. The poster for the bout. Very, very angular in places where it should be soft, and about the only thing that's rounded are the gloves themselves. But even they're still kind of rectangular as well. It's an interesting approach to it. I would like to see more innovation. I'd like to see other artists try and step out of their comfort zone and try and do some of these different impressionists, like Raphael had the I think they called it Coda. It was his impressionist panther from last week before. It's really neat to see some artists really try and show these different styles. I wish the general voter appreciated the effort to bring a different style to it, and it just doesn't seem to connect when it comes to the voting, but I think they could really embroider really well, and it is something really different. You're not going to find this anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the motion lines on it, I don't get the little dots at the opposite ends of the motion lines there. It's really the only kind of critique that I have on there. I would probably drop those all together because it actually gives me, excuse me, that. You get the bulldog barking and he just never shuts up.
Yeah.
It makes me envision like a laser pointer. You know, you got the dot and then the
Right.
So I get rid of the dots just to kind of discourage that thinking. But the rest of it's great.
Yeah, I'm with you that we haven't ever seen Matt kind of tackle this type of layered drawing or layered art style. Like this is almost kind of taking a page out of your book where it's just layered. You know, now we're gonna work on a color. All right, we're gonna layer that one. Work on this color. It's a cool piece. Shadow boxing too. He's throwing that left hook. And it looks like his shadow got hit. Like it's just like a cool concept.
Yeah, you can even see the spittle flying. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. It reminds me of Obey, that brand, when they did a I think they're like a panda or whatever. But like, they would kind of draw in this kind of style too. Yeah. This is a cool piece by Matt Bells and Whistles. Number 8. Let's see, Donuts. Design with Jake. Fluffy Ariel. What do you think of here?
I'll say, I'm not going to come out and say this is going to do poorly, but I'll say this: voters have never voted for a pink brim, the soft pink brim, I should say, and I know historically. Clink does particularly bad with the cotton candy type of colorway, the light blue and pink.
And you love that colorway. That's how you know.
Yeah, I mean, I pitched that blue raz to Casey like a month ago and said, "Hey, what do you think about it?" He's like, "Sorry, but that colorway doesn't sell. So put it in a different colorway, and then we'll see how it does in crits, but don't expect much." And I was like, "All right." So. Ignoring that you've got fluffy Ariel in this one, the box itself is a little small comparatively to the rest of the design, and there's something weird about the right eye. It's like the iris is. She almost has a lazy eye.
A lazy eye, yeah.
Directions. So I don't really know what the story was behind this one, and it's usually I really liked Jake's work. I'm not expecting much from the voting on this one.
Yeah, well, it's kind of confusing, like what we're looking at, because it looks like Ariel, but then she's definitely thicker, and then we got like the hands kind of disappearing in both instances, so. The left hand kind of just, I know it's in the other arm, but it just kind of ends abruptly. And then you got the hand under the box. So obviously you wouldn't see it, but it almost is just like she's got a donut box for her hand. I don't know. So there's a couple.
So if I were to say, here's how you fix this. One, it's got to be different colorway. It just has to be. But first, take the donut, and you don't have to smush it, but you do need to stretch it out. Okay, right now it's almost a massive dough. Stretch it out, and that'll help widen the overall design. And she won't. You may or may not have to shrink her a little bit because, hey, I like big girls, but the voters are not going to vote for a chubby gal. They're just not. So you stretch out that donut, you may or may not have to rework her a little bit just to slim her down. I just have to see them next to each other, but that would help make the box a little bigger. And yeah, that front hand, the front arm, just kind of getting chopped off there. Could almost show the top of the hand curling around the chest, and that would solve that problem. Just even have to give the impression of a thumb up there.
Yeah,
that would probably help that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful face, though.
Yeah, it really is, and that is really hard to do
on a small piece. Yeah,
I tried and failed a few times. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I kind of get what he's going for here. This almost looks like, again, we're looking at like a vintage advertisement for a donut shop.
Yeah.
Just man, they just don't go for the pink.
Yeah. Hopefully it votes well. I mean, I can't even check his profile to see what the background is too. So I wish we had a little bit more context. But yeah, it's a clean design. I worry that even if it gets through, that you might have some licensing issues and stuff potentially with Disney. So maybe you change the hair color to kind of compensate, because then it won't look like it. But just with the red and kind of how her hair is parted, like that screams Ariel to me. So
yeah.
All right, good job, Jake. Number 9, the Lone Raider, Brad Racing. He's getting into this kind of like new trend that we're seeing a lot, like the silhouetted landscape with a main subject piece. So what are your thoughts here?
I saw the submission on this. It's kind of a cool submission, and it's almost just from the lighting and the shading on the monument in the background. It looks like from Monument Valley out in New Mexico. There's so many little lines and so many little textures to there, but then the hat brim, especially the front of it, is so plain.
Yeah,
there's something about it's just a bit off balance there, and it goes from this texture thing to kind of a flat right around the hill. I wonder if getting rid of the little teal cow skull would actually help that a little, because it's kind of on a weird angle, and I wonder if getting rid of just that detail would help round it out a little bit more. With it being there, it makes it much more obvious that it's a flat surface.
I like the concept.
Yeah.
I generally don't like the landscape stuff, so the trend of adding like a main subject matter kind of makes it less of a landscape.
Sure.
So I kind of do like that. I feel like there's kind of scaling issues.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to suspend belief, right? We're looking at a landscape within a hat.
Sure.
But I feel like the bird being that big is almost. I feel like that bulb with the bird is almost begging to be on the other side of the hat.
Sure.
And then you kind of shrink the bird so he's not as you don't have a bird with a wingspan the size of a length of a horse. I'm with you though, the expanse at the front, it not being anything, almost would be begging for the whole thing to be black. Maybe that way it just kind of fades in. You can kind of fade it in. Then you got these tiny little prickly cactuses.
Maybe if he just brings the black from the hill farther down, that would help.
Yeah, that kind of like let it fade in a little bit more, and then instead of that back chunk of mountain being in that, maybe that is like a what you call it, a cactus instead. I don't know.
It almost
the bones are there.
I don't know if you've ever, probably haven't been to Monument Valley, but a lot of those formations have that lone jutting piece that comes off of it. And it's weird how erosion works that way.
Yeah.
But the wind erosion actually starts wearing that down. So that's very true to form for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is just kind of an unbalanced, detailless front, and then really heavy detail on the other side. I think that's just what's hitting it. So if you get rid of that skull, bring the black farther down to give it more of a sloping effect, I think that would help it a lot. And I get why the silhouette of the bird is there. All of these old Western films, they're showing the expanse. There's always that lone hawk scream in the background. So I get why he's there, but I don't think it really adds anything to this. And like you said, it does present a scaling issue. Why is it as big as the horse?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've been on this old timey American kick too. I don't know if you've seen the new show American Primeval.
Yeah.
That show is wild with all the Utes and Mormons and American government battling each other for land. So it's kind of fits that theme. I mean, everyone's into Yellowstone and stuff like that. So it's a great concept. He's got the bare bones of it. I just think small little tweak here or there, and he's right there. And who knows? Maybe this votes well, and he gets in, and we look crazy. But I think it's a start of something real cool. Yeah.
So is that brim? Is that a? It doesn't look like it's the fabric black. It looks lighter than that. Is that?
Like a graphite
color.
Yeah, like a graphite or pewter.
Yeah.
Dark gray. Oh. It's got 3 hats too. So the hat on the guy, the hat and then the hat. So it's like a triple hat inception.
It's almost like the colorway of the hat. It was with going with the graphite or pewter or whatever that is. It almost gives it like the hat has a sun bleached look to it as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Brad, man. Down under. All right, we got Arabian Nights again by Brad. So
I think he did this one a while ago. This is a cool piece.
Yeah. So it's like the silhouette of like almost like one of those temples or old kind of architecture. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Really, really neat little piece, and again, this is another instance of something that could have gone sideways if there had been just that little extra touch of detail in there. It would have been just too much. He did just enough to sell the scene. Scheherazade and the Thousand Tales. Really neat little piece. I'm almost. I don't know if there's any copyright issue with the camel in the front. When I smoked camels, so that pose looks a little too spot on for me. So I don't know if it still is. It's been so many years since I've smoked. So that may have to be adjusted a little, but other than that, I dig it. Great color, really nice colorway.
I do like how he's using objects to kind of break like the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So in the one previous, we had a hat that was more of like a shape within the landscape, and now he's just got 2 swords that totally breaks that. And then you look deeper, and it's like, oh man, it's like this whole little piece. I do like the colors. So he's got like this kind of copper, rusty kind of color, almost like a tan. Tan, yeah. Works well off that kind of like deep blue. This is a solid piece.
If you notice, that outline is the same shape as one of the rounded top from the tower.
Buildings. Yeah.
That's a nice touch.
It's a cool piece.
Yeah.
And I noticed the trick that a lot of guys are starting to do to kind of just maximize your space is they're not letting the actual art within the structure kind of hold it in. So maybe, instead of the moon just being pressed down, it's just protruding and kind of breaking the lines a little
Yeah.
bit. Or maybe you get some clouds that kind of work its way through, and they kind of just give you that illusion of more space instead of it just being kind of just restricted and packed in.
I gotcha.
But yeah, it's a cool piece. Again, I don't normally like the landscapey stuff, but once you kind of add more dynamic things within it, you got the buildings, you got the camo, and the two swords up front. Yeah, this is a solid piece. Moving forward, 11. All right.
Hey, look at there.
Sucker for Love. Talk about this one.
That's funny. They changed the name. We submitted as
Love Sucks.
Yeah. We actually were sitting on this one for quite some time. Last, I don't know, July or August, something like that. I did a rooster shaped sucker.
That would not.
Yeah,
that would not get through.
It was it completely. We even said right off the bat, this is a joke submission. There's no chance that a cock shaped sucker is going to get made.
Yeah.
But while I was looking up some references to see how the light goes through the sugar glass, the hard candy, I found most of those kind of lollipop references are this heart shape. That hey, if this one does go through, or if there's enough interest, would you be willing to do this for Valentine's Day? Yeah, sure. And it really came down to almost didn't have enough colors to be able to do it. Almost wanted to do it goes back to Valentine's Day in grade school, and all the kids are handing out the Valentines and the candy, and there always seem to be these heart-shaped suckers, and there are some off no-name brand, and they're just the best. So that's really all it was to it. We just wanted to give it the throwback on there, and I like to think that I nailed the translucency to the wrapper on it too. So
I think you nailed this one. I like the fact that it almost looks like it's been sucked on a little bit, so it's not like that rigid candy that you kind of start with, like the the fake out line or whatever. So it's almost smoothened out. I mean, not to be too graphic or whatever, it'd be cool. You add potentially some saliva on it too. Maybe kind of let the I mean, if it's the plastic one, it won't get affected, but sometimes you get that paper kind of handle to kind of wither that a little bit more, just to add that little thing. But just your knowledge of color here, you got like the deep red for the darker parts, and then the kind of light red that you used on the side, and then the side, and then use that for the color of the straw. Like, that's just advanced color play, man.
Thanks.
And then the translucency of the wrapper. Yeah, you guys nailed this thing.
Yeah.
Initial thought, it reminds me a little bit of the although like I think a different concept of the I'm Not Okay one that Clifton did, but it was just like a broken piece. It does a little bit remind me of the Christmas Shank too, that we saw Cody Manning and Casey team up together.
Yeah.
This is kind of like an extension of that series, but yeah, this is a cool one. The name rebrand, it still works. Sucker for Love.
It still works. Yeah.
A little bit more positive take on it than than what you guys originally put forth. Solid piece.
Yeah,
solid piece. And like the super realistic stuff where you had to like cut off the straw. I mean, realistically, you really need like a 4-inch straw. So like that's a cool kind of a creative change.
That was the one point of contention, and I could have made it longer, so it would have looked a little more realistic. But then I wouldn't have been able to do
all the stuff.
The shadow, right at the bottom of the space that I had.
Yeah. And then if you tilt it the whole way, then you just get this long rod.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a really cool piece, man. You
Thanks.
guys nailed it. All right. Moving forward, we got Soulmates by Flanagan. I believe it's a collab with, I think, either his daughter
I think so.
or the wife. One of the two.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna look that up so we're
I
not
want
just
to say it was
guessing.
the daughter.
Yeah. She made a
Just
sketch.
from seeing the original sketch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really nice work on this one. I didn't look at it that close on the submission.
Nephew. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Really,
Yeah.
really nice use of the really light green, just to give it a little bit of texture and just to give it that little extra highlight. I couldn't see that on the original submission. It was just a little too small for me to see, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about the teeth. If I'm being honest, only there's only so much you can do when you're doing teeth, on the skulls, and especially when you get it down into a smaller space like this. What are you going to do? There's only so much you can do and still keep within the line where you need to keep it at, but also still make it discernible of what it actually is. But as it is, where he's trying to follow the curve of the pedal, and I don't mean it rude at all, but it almost gives it that kind of look.
Yeah. The expression, yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of how you would fix that aside from.
It's a sizing issue, I think, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't get the level of detail you want on a face that small. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So either you gotta simplify it. Yeah, I think the move would be to just simplify the teeth. As instead of trying to add all the different swiggles, you almost just want to just draw a line.
Yeah.
Simplify it, and then but it is a cool piece. I do like how he collaborated with the young nephew, took a sketch, ran with the concept. The colors work well. The kind of cardinal with the green under, you can never go wrong with the green under.
Right.
Is
that the chrome crown, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it looks like chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little heart in the middle too, if you see it.
Oh yeah.
That negative space there. Yeah, it's a cool little piece.
I think the inside eyes on both of them, I would make those a little larger.
Okay.
And I think it's just trying to, again, follow the curve of the pedal. I think he leaned a little too hard on the fade on it. So bring those up just a little bit. That'll help bring up the realism on a little.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, it's very well done.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Flanagan. Now we got heartstrings. What are you thinking?
The first thing I see off this is the Misfits logo. Inside the cowl, and that's just something that's going to a skull inside a cowl is always going to evoke that look, from the Crimson Ghost. It's an interesting piece. I don't quite get why the heart is so battered.
It's almost broken.
Yeah, it's a broken heart, but it's lumpy.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to give it the appearance that it's taken a lot of abuse and taken a lot of hits, so it's weathered. But in this instance, I would actually probably go back to a little more classic, very simple shape to it, because it just makes it kind of lumpy and globby here. But I like the colors that he's picked to give a little bit of a reddish tinge to the highlight. So the pinks there, they work well with the purples and the, I want to say that's about the blue ink color. You know what it always makes me think of when I see the hand and the strings coming off it? It reminds me of one of the Iron Maiden covers.
Mm. Yeah, this reminds me a bit of a hat we did last year called the Puppet Master.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
A part of me is wondering, like why not more strings? I guess like not every finger has one.
Good point. Yeah.
And he's got human hands, so Grim Reaper got a human hand. I don't know. There's a bit. The colorway's kind of cool. It reminds me of that kind of that tie dye he did.
Yeah.
Last year, so it's almost like he's like remixing his old piece or his old colorways and just coming back to it. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Heartstrings, tugging at the heartstrings. I'm with you though. Kind of confused about the broken heart.
Yeah,
but I guess it kind of makes sense as a concept. But
and this is another one where when you think about it, just execution, the teeth are too small. I would imagine punching that in would be pretty difficult. So there's another one that you want to simplify it and just give it, one or two lines and just let the mind fill in the rest.
Yeah, just add some shadowing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Just all you need to do is tilt his head a little bit more down.
Yeah.
You already got crazy lighting.
Yeah.
There, so you just give him a shadow, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about his hands, though?
So the left hand, as we're viewing it, is actually it's actually a really well done pose. The thumb is a little off.
Yeah.
But the rest of the, kind of grab, that's actually pretty good. But the right hand, it's almost like those fingers are flat.
Yeah.
I don't know if
the hand on the left side, the right hand is kind of misshapen.
Yeah.
Because you got like his pose is almost this, but then his first two fingers occupy what you would assume to be like the main part of it, and then the ring finger and the pinky are big down here basically.
Yeah.
So he does have a little bit of anatomy issues there, but I mean, like it's a cool piece. Like, well, when you're first looking, you don't need a story. You're looking at it, it's like, okay, cool. Like, it's a rad concept, I guess. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like it needs just a little bit of refinement to it, but I like the colors, the colorway overall. It's a nice contrast with the true purple, and then that, I want to say, what is that, Air Force blue probably for the under.
Could even be like a cerulean blue too.
Yeah. You don't see that very often. That's kind of a cool contrast, but it's got a lot of potential. I think it just needs a little more work to it.
Yeah. All right, moving forward, got 14/8 back with Inner Peace.
Now that's a cool concept. I don't think we've seen this yet.
No, I feel like we've done like a skull, like two skulls or like a face and a skull in the middle, maybe, but not like this.
The Ripper Kong, where they kind of tore off the face and had the skull in. So yeah, that general concept, but this where it's hollow on the inside and you've got something pretty coming out of the middle. That's interesting. And it's a little more detailed than you usually see from 14/8, but it still isn't overly complicated. I really dig this.
Yeah.
He's really hit that balance between detail and just letting the piece speak for itself.
Yeah. This would be a cool concept too if anyone ever did it with like those Russian dolls.
Yeah.
That, you know, kind of go into each
Yeah.
other. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen like a Hanya mask like split like this. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the only thing that I would probably work with a little is you don't necessarily have to do more of the flowers in the middle, but maybe alter the angle of one of them or two of them.
Like it's falling almost.
You have a lot with the very simple design. You have a lot of depth and texture right on the face, but then they're flat and static.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of either making them look like they're coming to you, or maybe like falling to the ground potentially, or like a whoosh. Almost needs a whoosh or something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good piece. All right, moving forward, we got the Heart of Gold, Extinction Inc. Got together with Jake.
Yeah.
Jake Smith.
Great execution on the name. And I like the classic or the traditional tattoo, kind of just the lines coming out to give it the impression of a shine or a light coming from the whole thing. But I am a little concerned that what was Extinction's first one that made it through the tattoo
the two alligators? Yeah.
I am worried that's a lot of little line work. I mean, that works really well, cross hatching and shading, that works really well in other elements, but we still have yet to see how well that works out in embroidery. So if it works out, it'll look great. What I'm worried about, and I always throw back this example of Wynn's Lady Macbeth. Really well drawn originally, but when it came punched out, that is the one hat that I received from Clink that I was really disappointed in, because of all the fine work on that kind of puffed background. It kind of folds in around those thin lines, and you lose them. They just kind of disappear, and it just turns into kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So, hey, if it turns out, it'll look awesome. If it doesn't, it's going to be a big bloody mess.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the kind of spread. You usually see that like in like a prayer hands or like a heart. I almost wish the heart was more stylized, and not just an anatomical heart.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even like a sacred heart that we saw, kind of not really, but almost. The burning heart one. Yeah. We'll see how it votes. I mean, another hat that's kind of built like a baseball hat. This reminds me of the old like 1990s Pittsburgh Pirates when he wore that red bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. We'll see how it does. Initial thoughts, like with the red and yellow too, like you get a little bit like McDonald's vibes.
I like the color. I do, but
Yeah.
I also know that the community as a whole is not big on yellow brims.
Yeah.
So I hope that doesn't hurt the overall voting for it, just being the colorway, because it's up to the artist to create an appealing colorway when you submit the design, but you also know that if it isn't going to come out appealing, Clink's going to change the colorway anyway.
Yeah.
So how much weight do you put on that when you're voting as the average voter? I hope it doesn't hurt it, but in my track record, it does.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We got Cosmic X-Ray, Raphael.
Now, it's well done, and I like the colors that he's used for it. and this isn't necessarily a topic that we have to go into at any great length, but we have seen, especially lately, where folks are doing their own version of a design that's currently in the shop. Like Heather had the I don't remember what it was called, but it was the astronaut skull on the ground. You know, I think it just came out.
It just closed, yeah.
It just closed. So, if you find a really great design you really like and you want to try your own hand at it, that's totally fine. But might want to give it a little space. Let the other one breathe for a minute. So, in fairness, I do like this one better. I just like the overall presentation better. And it's, I always kind of hem and haw about like the camo crowns, that kind of thing. It seems more gimmicky to. It didn't really seem to add anything to that other design, so I don't know, really how it helped it or not. So if this was the first time that I was seeing this design, I'd be saying a lot more positive things about it, because I think it's really well done, and it's we've just talked about teeth on skulls here recently. This is exactly what I want to see. Yeah, you can see the individual teeth on there, but they're large enough that you can do that.
Yeah. I'm with you. I kind of echo the same kind of sentiment. I even felt even Heather's one wasn't it wasn't unique enough to me, but I mean it still voted well, probably sold well.
It was
we can't gatekeep, I guess, concepts.
Sure.
But yeah, the alien, I mean the kind of like skull astronaut guy, like we've even released like 10 to 15 of them at the capologist, so it's like I'm a little bit more sensitive towards that kind of stuff, but
sure,
you can't argue with it. It's a good piece. I mean, the composition's been done multiple times that we've done it.
And we've seen it in different poses, Gemini's son, I think he goes by Unknown Artist. He had the Space Pirates, so we've seen it in many different incarnations, and we've seen it in different poses. So this is a different take on it. So I do think he really put some effort into making sure it wasn't just more of the same.
Yeah.
I just think timing wise, just as just a professional courtesy, I would have held off on it for a while. But
it sucks that it's him too, because like he's like the Panther guy. He's always doing Panther stuff and always doing it's some type of nature stuff. So the second he steps out, it's like it's been done before. So it kind of sucks that it's him that we're kind of like harping on it. But I mean, this is just like a general
and
criticisms towards.
I would throw that same criticism out for. I mean, again, not just to throw anyone out, but Gabe has been out of control with redoing concepts lately. There's several others, but just you'd hope for more, just courtesy.
Yeah. The dog agrees. All right, Sneaker God, Point X Co, and Sadex.
San Antonio, Texas fitted.
San Antonio,
yeah.
San Antonio, Texas.
So I actually, Brandon and I were discussing this one when we saw it first submitted. It's an interesting take on it. I think it's I have a shipment that just arrived.
Nice.
So it's an interesting take on it, and I think the pose is great, but there's a lot of detail to this one.
Yeah.
The sneakers themselves have got to be simplified. You don't need the little dot air holes. They're never going to come out. And not to put too much focus on it, but Point X Go releases their own hats, you would think that they would know that that's not going to turn out. So, don't even put it on the mock-up. And the swirling toga, I'm guessing, it's borderline with a lot of detail on there, and that's me saying that. I do that the same thing with the waves and stuff whenever I do those. So it's right on the line of being too complicated.
Mm-hmm. You almost wish he got rid of one of the arms, and then you can just almost like chop that part off and expand the rest of it. So you really get the details of the face, the beard. The beard's flowy.
Yeah.
The silhouettes of the shoes. So he picked two really good shoes. So like the Jordan 1 and the Jordan 3. The Jordan 1 has a big old Nike check mark on it. So obviously they didn't put it on, but because you didn't put it on now, it looks like the shoe is kind of mutilated. So I almost wish you just didn't even do that shoe. Right? The 3 doesn't have any markings on it unless you're talking about the Tinker Hatfield version. But then even without the Nike swoosh on it, like you wonder, does that pass legal? And
right. I'm not a sneakerhead, so I really, I mean, I can tell the one is the Jordan 1.
Yeah,
that's one of the more iconic ones. So that's pretty obvious. But I think you're right. If you get rid of that front hand in the front shoe, that'll let you kind of widen it a little bit, and that'll save you some of that concern of is it too detailed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can even go another step further. Just get rid of the body, get rid of all the other stuff you don't need, and then maybe put the emblem of a shoe on his helmet. And that way now you can just maximize that face that you have there. So then you don't get this like half naked dude on it. So I don't know. There's kind of like different ways you can kind of play with it. I think the concept's cool. You're right there, but like how you want to execute it and the practical part of it is going to be, it's too almost far. Like, I mean, I could see this being real well done on a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
But for a hat, you're not going to get 3/4 body plus the shoe, plus the toga thing. Like, just focus on just the head, I would say.
Yeah.
And then just work the emblem into his helmet, because it's a well drawn piece.
It is.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit.
Even if you don't go quite that far, it's just the head. Just go up to the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have that the right arm coming out, and it can still be holding, the scepter or whatever that's the shoes on top. That'll let you bring it in to give a lot more space to kind of flesh out the head.
Yeah, and even if you don't do like a Nike sign, you could almost make the composition that of it. So if you just have like work that part of that front part of the swoosh, and then have his backhand, like he's either holding a scepter or something, then that can kind of emulate the shape of it. So you're not necessarily doing a shoe, but then you're kind of emulating that swoosh.
Sure.
That kind of gets the point across too, potentially. That way the composition makes you, because you want to basically evoke that emotion and kind of play off that sneaker thing, but you don't necessarily have to use a sneaker. You can use the composition to kind of work for you in that sense. Like if he's just holding that scepter instead of it just disappearing behind that scepter, he's like holding it almost, like about to throw the trident or something. But then that still creates that whole composition of a swoosh. Could work too. Yeah, I think he's right there. But yeah, this is a situation where you're just biting off a little bit more than what the needle can handle. It's
sure.
That's all it is. But yeah,
sneakerheads are going to go nuts for it. How many are there that are also clink heads? we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Number 18, the Milky Whale. Brad Racing had a little 3-pack here.
I dig
So
this one. I really
yeah,
do.
I like how the little kind of Milky Way is like right where the eye would be too. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
So when I first saw this one, it kind of evokes Winded Headspace last year. That I think that should be shipping really soon if it hasn't already.
Yeah.
So within the design, yeah, it's kind of a silhouette, but it's not. Really, and I know the colors are going to throw off a few people because it's right on the edge of being a pastel design.
Pastels, yeah.
But when you really look at the colors of astronomy photographs, those are the colors of space. There's a lot of pinks, there's a lot of teals, there's a lot of light kind of pastel colors. That's just what the colors are. So I think you picked really nice colors for it, and it hasn't been as popular the last year or so, but that really light, almost mint green under was really popular there for a minute, a couple years ago. So I like seeing it come out with the navy. I'm guessing that's probably a metallic thread intended for the outline.
Yeah, like a metallic gold.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece. I like it.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. I feel like there's almost begging just for like just a regular whale. I would just be curious to see what a whale would look like, just like this, or even an X-ray whale. But yeah, it will go against the Milky Way kind of pun he's going for. But yeah.
And he actually has a really it's proportionally right for like a humpback whale. So I that portion of it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why like I see the composition. I'm almost but like I would love to see this just a nice clean whale. Like but yeah. This is good. No other
I hope it makes it. My son would love this. He's crazy about whales.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Mischief. What are your thoughts here?
It's cute. And the last couple of years, cute hasn't done particularly well with the voters with Clink, but you never know how it's going to go sometimes with the cute factor. I am seeing there's what was his name around the time of like Casper and Wendy the Witch.
They had to switch it.
Yeah.
I think it was Hellraiser. I think it was called maybe.
Lil Hell, or I can't remember what the name was, but yeah, there was a little hothead, little devil-looking guy that was really cute. That was basically this character with it was just red all the way through, so it didn't have the peach face or hands or feet.
Little hellion.
Yeah.
I feel like they had to change it though, because it was more like Casper looking.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a little bit of anatomy issues. I feel like this guy's got 2 left feet. And I feel like this is where it gets weird, right? So like borderline not baby anatomy, almost like dude in a leather suit. So it's
like the legs kind of coming out at a weird point compared to where the butt is curving back. I don't know. It is a little hard to tell where that's actually going from.
The tail's in
you're right. They're 2 of the same feet. One of them needs to be flipped around for the order of the toes.
It's definitely the left foot.
Yeah.
The left foot has a right foot. Sorry, it's 2 right feet then, essentially. Yeah, he's almost because he's got that little goatee, makes him look like he's a little bit older too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like creepy
but then
dude in a red suit.
single tooth.
Yeah.
It's a cute design, and it's polished well. There are some anatomy issues to it. It's who the hell knows how it's going to go in the voting. You can never really say, but for a Valentine's themed one, it's cute. It's not for me, but he did what he was doing, what he was looking for.
Yeah, a lot of hearts too. I would simplify, maybe do 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, mischief. Definitely up to no good. This guy.
Those white highlights, man, they just make it. You're right. It makes it look like it's a rubber suit.
Yeah, like a leather. Yeah, he's wearing a leather polyurethane. All right, Devil's Music. Pretty Fanatic and Matt Bell. What are you thinking here?
I like it, but it almost seems like it's half done.
It's also almost begging to be on a black hat too.
Yeah,
like the red character on a red hat.
And it looks like you need to pick 2 more contrasting reds in the body, because I can barely tell, but there are 2 different shades of red in there.
Yeah.
I just on the screen as it is, I can't even tell where all the detail is for the different shades there. I just can't tell. And man, guitars are just a beast to do in this medium, because there's so many little details you want to put on there. You just can't. You don't have the space to do it, or you can't do the thin line for like guitar strings. It never looks right when you do them. So it's the angle that he has a guitar. It's correct, but because of where it's placed, it looks like there's a whole lot of empty, unused space. So
the strap's kind of connecting it to like a weird spot too.
Yeah.
Like usually the strap would be more further to the head, but it wouldn't work well for the design, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. You need a stronger contrast, dark red, because like if you're looking at it from far, it'll just look like a flat image.
Yeah.
Also, what I was saying with the it not being on a black canvas, you really don't get to see the body. It's almost as if you're looking at the shadow of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting piece. I don't know if you need the orange in the guitar and in the mic. I'd almost want it to be like maybe like a silver, just to, or even like a dark pewter, almost to kind of balance it a little bit.
Yeah, I would steer away from doing it as red as like the same. It's gonna evoke too much of Van Halen, of Eddie's guitars, but. And the mic, I'm guessing, but there's really not a whole lot of chance that those little dots are going to come
specks
out. Yeah. I almost want to see the guitar moved.
Shift it, right?
Yeah, I want to see
rotate it almost.
Exactly. Yeah, because that'll give you more, allow you to drop it, and then give you more room to work it out. It's from the pose and the way that he's holding the mic. It's a very vertical design, and really the only kind of width that you're getting is from the guitar.
Yeah.
So there's.
Yeah, there's potential.
There's
just lacking. It's just lacking contrast.
It just seems like, I know sometimes when I'm struggling with the design and I'm working on it, and like day 3, you're just like, all right, that's it. It is what it is. There it is. And I almost get the impression that this was what it would look like if I was working on it and just got to that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has a lot of potential. I just don't think it's right there yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. But all right. We wanted an easy show today. We still ended up at an hour 40 some way, somehow, but it's okay. We had to battle some dogs.
Yeah.
But no, it was great to catch up with you.
Yeah.
You've been a great part of the community. I kind of miss your commentary on the designs a little bit. Now that you've kind of stepped away a little bit. So it's good to get you back. Good to get you back in
Anything.
commenting on it. And yeah, I miss having a really kind of experienced artist on the show. So it was good to kind of rotate you back in. It was good to have you.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All right. Where can people connect with you?
So on Instagram, I'm Seamus the Skunk, or my link tree is linktr.ee /Seamus the Skunk, and then it's
Nice.
I'll
get you all the stuff. Cool. All right, Mike. I really value your insight and your friendship and your connection with me. So good to have you back. Welcome back anytime.
Thanks. Yeah.
But until next time, Mike and Meow, we out of here.
See ya.
Eternal damnation.
You're at the end of the world as you know it, my dude. Time is up and you out of moon, so what will you do? It's the BP mercenaries not here to...
Brought to you by VFTV.